stick around. Let's see.
Sam's gonna stick around in case you've got questions for after. All right. Ashish? Yeah.
Yes. Is there a microphone? I'm probably going to pace around a little bit.
Yes.
Let's try this. Sorry?
Wait, Dan, you don't have the.
No, I left it.
Oh, I see it now.
I believe.
In case you want.
There we go. Hello? Testing?
You don't need it to actually project it, just to record.
Wait, can you guys hear me if I'm just talking normally?
Yeah.
Okay, sick.
That's just for the video.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you walk
yeah.
around, use it.
Okay, so what's up, everybody? I feel like I've seen a couple of you around, either in the peer mentor program or maybe I know you personally. And so you might have actually heard some version of this talk already. So I'm a senior in chemical and biological engineering. I'm going to be talking about my experience in research and then also what I've learned about mental health, self-care, and just trying to get through this program. Yes. Okay, so I got started with research. Initially, I didn't want to come into college as a chemical engineer. I was planning to either do CS or MECI or something like that, but in my senior year of high school, my sister got diagnosed with diabetes, and so I decided that I wanted to do some sort of work that could help out her or people like her. And so a couple fields that were interesting to me were like computational biology, bioinformatics, microfluidics was also a huge thing, because I remember there was, senior year, I watched this one TED Talk about somebody who made a microfluidic device for diagnosing diseases in third world countries, and that just struck me as so sick. That's what I wanted to work on. And so when I took fluid mechanics, which you guys are going to take, I think that's sophomore year, second semester? Yeah. I really enjoyed the course because I think you guys are going through the calc sequence right now, right? All the general engineering, chemistry, physics, math. And differential equations was definitely one of my favorite classes. And DiffEq flows into fluid mechanics in a pretty natural way. I really enjoyed the course before. I really enjoyed the course taken with Professor Schwartz. He's a fantastic teacher. And so afterwards, at the very end of the semester, Professor Robert Davis came in and gave a special talk about his work with microfluidics and simulation stuff. And I just cold emailed him saying like, hey, I'm a sophomore in the program. I saw your talk today when you came to class, and I'd really be interested in learning more. And don't be afraid about reaching out to professors like this. Everybody in this department wants to see you succeed. If you take that initiative upon yourself to reach out and ask for that help, more likely than not, they will be there and be willing to give it to you. Now I can cross. I was writing up notes while Dan was giving his presentation on just extra stuff. The other thing about research is that don't feel limited to only professors in this department, right? We have a pretty wide range of research fields in Chem Bio, but as engineers, you guys have that same wide basis to be able to conduct research in other departments. I have friends who are doing work in chemistry, in MECI, in MCDB, neuroscience. Like, you guys as chemical engineers, you have that same engineering basis that everyone does, and you have the biology side. So just like go through a department website, scroll through the faculty page, go to the research areas. They're all pretty like boldly outlined on the web page, and just scroll through until you find something that sounds interesting. The technical language may be a little bit cumbersome at times, but you could always just skip that paper, find something else. There's something out there that'll interest you, you just have to find it. So getting research, my first experience, so when I talked to Professor Davis, he indicated that I should apply for the SPUR program, which my friend Tyndall is going to talk about more in a second. I really do recommend applying for this, even if you don't think that you'll want to do it in the end, or you decide you want to maybe take an internship that summer or do classes. The process of applying for research positions like this is invaluable, because the more you try it, the more practice you get, the better you'll be the next time around. It's not like a one-off thing. Like, you won't be a perfect candidate on your first time around. I feel like that's typically the case, but that's okay. The point is, in my personal opinion, engineering is less about being smart enough to get through and more about being too dumb to quit. It's a hard program, right? It beats you down. Exams are difficult, class is difficult, the concepts, like it's a lot to wrap your head around. And that takes me to my oh dear. Yeah. You can see my profile picture, I guess. It's okay. You guys get to see more of me. So, I had my stuff together, I think, all through freshman year. COVID happened. I still kind of had my stuff together sophomore year because I was living abroad at the time. And so all the classes were synchronous. I didn't really have anything else to do in my life than study. And so I still managed somehow to get through COVID. But this is when I realized that mental health really is important, right? On top of being chemical engineering students, at your core, you guys are human beings, right? You have lives, you have friends, you have other stuff. Chemical engineering is not your entire personality. You have hobbies. And it's important to make sure that like going through this program, you're not neglecting those aspects of your personality. It's really hard to manage your time. Trust me, I know, I'm still trying to figure it out. But the important thing is that you just, even if it's just a little bit, like for example, I've recently discovered a love for biking. I don't have the time to go biking as much as I want to, but like after class one day, I'll just go out for a quick lap around campus, and it'll satiate me until the next day. Like just take whatever moments you can get to do stuff that you genuinely enjoy, because going through engineering college, I'm sure Professor Young could also attest to that, it is hard. This sucks. It's terrible. Everything is hard.
I would say that all of that.
Okay, most of it is hard. But like, especially getting into your later courses. So everyone is suffering through the original. Also, like, let me know on time, because I want to have a couple, maybe 4 minutes for questions before Tyndall. Crap, never mind. So last thing, everyone is going through the same courses right now with calc, physics, math, or chemistry. As soon as you start getting into your ChemE specific courses, you may have to develop a different learning style. What I did when in calc all the way through DiffEQ or physics, I was a big textbook learner. Like I'm not recommending that you do this. I would skip class and just take really, really detailed notes on the book instead. And that worked for me. But as soon as we started getting into Matt and Bow and fluids and heat transfer, that stopped working. So just be open to changing your learning style and try and be open-minded, stay flexible, and just remember, if you had a bad day, it's just a bad day. Everyone has that. Most people will feel imposter syndrome at some point. The important thing is just keep moving. Take it day by day. Talk to your friends, talk to your professors, because they understand. They've gone through the same stuff. If you're going through a rough time, reach out. There's people here to support you. And this is my last point, I promise. I'm really sorry for going over time, but it took me until my junior year to realize I didn't like chemical engineering. I wanted to do pure bioengineering. And at CU, I think there's 2 routes with which you can do that. You could do ChemBio, which is like bioengineering from more of a chemical engineering perspective, I think. Or you could do biomedical, which, to my understanding, it's just an electrical mechanical degree applied to biology stuff. So even though I came to realize like traditional chemical engineering wasn't something that I was as passionate about, for my future goals of being a bioengineering researcher, this is still, I think, the best option you have. I know, did Ashi skip today? I knew it. But I've talked to a couple of you about similar things, about how you want to do bio research, and you're afraid that, you're afraid of the ChemE parts. You don't have to be afraid. Just don't give up, is what I'm saying. And if you want to reach out to me, I'll leave I feel like I'm more contactable by Instagram or my number. I'll put that up at the end of the class. Sorry for going over. Thank you very much.
You're not over, I just meant you.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I have
And I'll
time for
say,
questions.
So she talked about time management being difficult, but I mean, how many things are you doing? I know that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like doing videos and stuff for computing, you're doing research, you're a CA, I mean, like,
That's another
you're
thing.
doing a lot of stuff.
So it took my junior year to realize I didn't like ChemE, or not that I didn't like it, just wasn't for me. I don't want to, ChemE is cool, it's just not for me. But staying with the ChemE department, I was debating switching to mechanical engineering or CS, and I'm really glad that I stuck with ChemBio, because the connections that I made with professors here, the love that I've discovered for, I happened to see a course with Professor Schwartz 2 years ago, and I really just, discovered this absolute joy of teaching. And so I think between the bioengineering, between the teaching, try as much stuff out as you can. There's a lot of opportunities in this department, and they're very supportive. I think it gets a little stressful because most of you guys, you've got to be pretty smart if you're here taking this class, if you're doing ChemE, if this is something you want to do. You'll get through the program. You'll be okay. Just remember that, yeah? Okay, now questions. Does anyone have questions? Mr. Dan.
What's the hardest class you had to take, which is the one that like made you realize ChemE wasn't for you?
That is a fantastic question. Oh, okay, wait, hardest class, ChemE specific or in general? In general, it was my intro to writing class because after 3 years of engineering school, I have forgotten how to write. Actually, big tip. Please keep reading and writing. You'll meet a lot of engineers who lack that communication ability, and being able to maintain that is such an invaluable skill, not only for the workplace if you're trying to get internships or network, but also communicating research. I don't know if you've tried reading a scientific paper, but they're very difficult to trudge through. And so I feel like the more of you guys going over it, being future chemical engineers that have that communication ability, the better off the world is going to be. So really stick with that. Any other questions?
Writing and statistics are two topics
Yes.
that our alumni say that they most use after school.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you all for listening.